How's it going, everyone? We'll get started in like a minute or so. I'll give some time for a few more people to join. Today, we're just going to go through the math. I believe the majority, I mean, anyone who's joining this will probably take the test on Wednesday. So, how's everyone doing? How are you guys feeling? Meantime, let me take out my test. Okay, let me take out the test myself and then we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to send it in the main chat just so everyone can see. So this link, just open it up. See this, and then just click math SHSAT practice test and then grade 8 Form A English. Okay? And if everyone could, it would be nice if everyone could turn on their cameras if you can. And yeah, we'll get started. Let me Okay, so we did the reading last time. Um I tried to go through most of it. Obviously we didn't have the time. For the math, we probably will have the time. So I'm going to get started on it right now. You guys can open up the math too, um, if you want, or you can just follow along. Yeah, let's start with 58. We'll kind of just work through. Okay, in a scale diagram, 0.12 inches represents 125 inches represents 125 feet. How many inches to represent 1 foot? You just have to divide, right? So set up the ratio. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, yeah, you guys are able to see it. Okay, so 0.125 inches represents 125 feet. How many inches represent 1 foot? So this is just a simple ratio question. You want to see how many inches, X inches represent 1 foot. So this is just about looking at how each side changes. 125 feet to 1 foot, you would divide by 125. 0.125, you would also have to divide by 125. And if you know how decimals work, 0.125 divided by 125 should just be 0.001, which I believe is A. So again, this is just a ratio question. How many inches represent 1 foot? You would just have to scale it. Does anyone have any questions on this? Yeah, let's go to the next one. Um, Again, try to follow along as I go through it. There's probably going to be some time at the end for me to just answer general questions. So if you have any general questions, just hold on. 55 miles an hour. So always like whenever you see something like this, just do like 55 miles 1 hour. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Which of the following calculations will give the car speed in feet per second? So 55 miles, you want to get into feet. So you do the conversions. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. And then the miles cross out, and then you just do. So this is feet over hours. We want to convert into feet per second. I know that in 1 hour, there's 3,600 seconds. Cross out hours, and it should be this. Um, times 5,280 divided by 3,600, that so it should be B. How do I choose that? Okay, yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Someone said, how do you choose which goes on the top, which goes on the bottom? Since miles is here, so the original ratio is 55 miles over hour. If I'm converting from miles to feet, miles would go in the opposite space. So here it's in the numerator, so it would go in the denominator. Why? So that I can cross out miles on the top and miles on the bottom. Does that make sense, everyone? Does anyone have any questions with this? So this one, you don't actually have to solve it. Um, you just have to set up the proportion. So the answer should just be B. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm gonna clear the screen. For what value W is, okay, so this is just solving for a variable. Should be very simple. Um, you want to solve for a variable, isolate the variable to one side. So I would subtract 2W. I'm gonna do this in text. So 4W is equal to 2W minus 8. Subtract 2W on both sides. So it's 2W is equal to 8, W is equal to 4. Oh, sorry. 2W is equal to negative 8. W is equal to negative 4. Yeah, does anyone have any? If someone says, so we are not going to solve them ourselves first before you go through the explanation. I kind of want to just walk through the test myself. I'm sure you guys can answer this yourself, like at least so far. Um, yeah, if you want, you can try to go just a bit ahead of me, but I just kind of want to walk through it just so that I'll give you guys like the simplest way to solve the question. This will just like help everyone as we practice. And then how come at the beginning of the math section there's no grid in or type in questions? Yeah, I don't know. It's a different format now that's online, so it's just not going to be like that. But yeah, take note of that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, I didn't even write the answer. Whatever 2 is equal to negative 4, it's W. Whoops. So, okay, next one. Someone said, do you think this would be a question on it because it's really easy? Honestly, I don't think any of these easy questions will be on the test, but there might be one or two. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it is kind of crazy how these are pretty easy. Let's go to this one. This one's a bit more difficult. 20 students have cats, 23 have dogs, 3 students have both, 5 students have no cats or dogs. How many students were surveyed? Easy. The way you solve this, all you have to do is you add up the students that have both cats and dogs, right? And then you add up the students that have cats and the students who have dogs, subtract by the students that have both, and then you add the students that have none. And this should just be 45. The reason is because hold on, these three people that have both cats and dogs, they're included in this and this statistic. Because if you have cats and you have dogs, you're going to be included twice. So that's why we subtract 3. So it's just 20 plus 23 minus 3 plus 5 equals 45. That should be the amount of students surveyed. Does anyone have any questions with this? Okay. Okay, let's go to the next one. Some of the numbers x, y, and z are 50. The ratio of x to y is 1 to 4. Y to z is 4 to 5. What's the value of y? So x plus y plus z is equal to 50. That's the idea. The ratio of y to x to y is 1 to 4, and y to z is 4 to 5. So that means that the ratio of x to y to z is going to be 1 to 4 to 5. Does that make sense to everyone? Because we're kind of just like scaling it up. Um, and then x to y to z is 1 to 4 to 5. And the total, well, here 5 plus 4 plus 1 is 10. But we see here x plus y plus z has to be equal to 50. So we multiply each variable x, y, and z by 5. So it becomes 5 to 20 to 30, and the total is now going to be 50. So now it's, oh, someone said 25. Yeah, that's my bad. Okay. So what's the value of y? The y should just be 20. Someone said, I said earlier, you always flip the ratio, so why not here? Good idea. So the idea here is when we say that x to y is 1 to 4, this means that for every 1 of x, there's 4 of y. So x to y is equal to 1 to 4. But when you calculate, let's say we wanted to write an expression that said that x is equal to y, it would be 4x is equal to y. Because now we see that x is equal to 1, y is always 4 times x. So that's what I mean when you flip it. So here we have 4x is equal to y. The ratio would still be x to y is 1 to 4, even though the 4 is on the x side. But we flip it. We give the 4 to the y, and then x has 1, if that makes sense. So again, when you set an e equation, always what you can do, um, what you can always do is like plug in the actual ratio 1 to 4. Here you see in this equation it works, right? If x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 4, and this is valid. This makes sense because the ratio of x to y is 1 to 4. Um, these questions are reflective of the level of the actual test questions. I always assume it's going to be a bit harder. Again, like I was walking through this and this seems pretty easy to me too. So I would always assume that this, like your test will probably be harder. But yeah, hopefully no one has any questions. Let's move on to the next one. I'm gonna clear the screen. Okay, what's the set? Okay, this is easy. So, what's the set of possible values of k if 2k is equal to m plus 3? They give you values of m, you just plug it in. So, let's say m is equal to 5, m is equal to 7, m is equal to 9. Okay, so you have 2k is equal to 5 plus 3, 2k is equal to 8, a is equal to 4. You do this for each one. 2k is equal to 7 plus 3, 2k is equal to 10, k is equal to 5. And the next one, 2k is equal to 9 plus 3, 2k is equal to 12, k is equal to 6. So the answer should just be B. Okay. Again, a lot of this has just been pretty chill so far. I don't know. I haven't seen anything too out of the ordinary. Let's go to the next one. Does anyone have any questions though? I'm gonna clear the screen. Yeah, this is just solving. So 7 plus 3n plus 6, 7 plus 6 minus 8. Always combine the similar things. So here, let's combine all the numbers, not the variables, the numbers. 7 plus 6, and then here there's a minus 8. So it's 7 plus 6 minus 8. 7 plus 6 is 13, 13 minus 8 is 5. And then the next part, I'm going to do in like a different color. I'll do like blue. 3n 3n, wait, why is that not working? 3n minus 4n is negative n. So 5 minus n. So the answer should be A. Again, one thing someone asked a good question. They said, "Do we know if we can go back in questions in the actual test?" Yes, you can go back questions. So let's say you answered a question, you can go back to it. Um, the test is just open for 3 hours. If you have extended time, you'll have more time, but it's just open for 3 hours. Um, but yeah, you can go back. Okay, let's go to the next one. Adriana took 4 courses and her mean score is 90. Roberto took 5 courses. If both students had the same sum of course grades, what was Roberto's mean? Okay, she took 4 courses, mean grade was 90. That means she averaged a 90 in each class. 90 times 4 is 360. And then we see Roberto took 5 classes and he had the same sum of course grades. So when you add up what Roberto got in 5 classes, it's also 360. So you do 360 divided by 5 because Roberto took 5 classes, and the sum is also the same as Adriana's, which was 360. That's just 72. So the answer is A. Does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, next one. Okay, so this is a type of new formatted type of question. Someone said this looks pretty easy. Is this an official practice test from the DOE? Yeah, it is. It's like on their website. So yeah, it's pretty surprising. I do think that um, anyone who's doing this test, this is good practice. Again, none of this is bad practice. This is always going to be good practice. But you should prepare for questions that will be much more difficult and like, at least for the math. The reading is more or less around the same. But yeah. Liam has twice as many stamps as Kevin. Liam gives 8 of his stamps to Kevin. Liam now has 12 more stamps than Kevin. How many stamps did Liam start with? So you just have to walk through each choice. An equation that relates the number of stamps originally. So originally, Liam had twice as many stamps as Kevin. So L equals 2K. Liam gives 8 stamps to Kevin. So L minus 8 is equal to, well, what does it say? When Liam gave away 8 stamps to Kevin, Kevin gets 8 stamps. So it's going to be K plus 8. And it says Liam now has 12 more stamps than Kevin. So L plus 8 plus 10, which is K plus 20. And then it should be this, and then solving the equation. I don't want to solve this, but 2K is equal to K plus 20. Wait, no, 2K minus 8 is equal to K plus 20. K is equal to 28. And then Liam had twice as many stamps, so Liam's equal to 56. Is that an answer? Okay. Someone said for this question, for the second option, is it not K plus 12 but K plus 20? It's K plus 20 because it's K plus 12. And then we see that when Liam gives 8 stamps to Kevin, we have to add 8 stamps to what Kevin has. So that's why we add plus 8. Um, okay, and then someone said has k equal 28, you just solve. So you subtract k, 2k minus k is k. You add 8 on both sides. 20 plus 8 is 28. All you have to do is plug it in. Well, how do I know what L is? Because we said here L is equal to 2k, and then we said L minus 8 is equal to k plus 20. plug in 2K for L, and then you just solve for K. This is not a gridden. This is just a different type of, I forgot what the name is. Let me see. No, it's inline choice. It's something like this. They show the type of question right here. But yeah, it's one of those like inline choice questions where you just have to walk through and choose the right thing. Again, you do not get credit if you get one wrong and two of these right. You will get the question completely wrong. The idea is you want to get all three questions right. You have to get all three parts right in order to get full credit. Okay, let's go to the next one. Um, what's the value of x? So this is 72. So we use the fact that a line is 180 degrees. So 72, 180 minus 72 is 108. If this angle is 108, so is the one across from it. And then we see that there's a 90 degrees here, and this is a full circle. And a full circle is 360, yeah, 360. So 360 minus 108 minus 90 is equal to 360 minus 198, 162. That should be your answer. Someone said, where's this test? I can send the link again. I sent the link earlier, but I will send it again. Just open up this test, navigate to grade 8 Form A after you click SHSAT practice tests. Grade 8 Form A, English, no text to speech. But yeah, this one should be pretty simple. It's just your knowledge of like angles. Yeah, but the answer should be 162. Oh, no, there's like I forgot there's this thing. Okay, yeah, great. It's 162. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, this one is kind of annoying. Which one of these are equivalent to the sum of the three expressions? So you have to add up these three expressions and then choose which one. There's two correct answers. So it's like a checkbox one. You just have to choose the two of them that are correct. So let's add each one. Um, I'm going to get rid of the parentheses when I do it. Negative 2 times 2.5 and negative 5n. Okay. Negative 5n. And then negative 2 plus 4 is just going to be negative 8. 5 minus n. Again, we are sum. It says equivalent to the sum. So we are adding. 5 minus n plus, and then here we said it's 3 times 2n. So 3 times 2n is 6n. 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, now we just, again, let's focus on the n's. Negative 5n minus n plus 6n. So all the n's cancel out. Negative 5n minus n is negative 6n. Negative 6n plus 6n, they just cancel out. And then negative 8 plus 5 plus 21. Negative 8 plus 5 plus 21. 5 plus 21 plus 5 is 26. 26 minus 8 is 18. So the answer should just be 18. Now, what do? We choose 18, but we see that one of these have to be the correct answer, right? If we look at how I wrote this, um, what is it going to be? Negative 5n minus 8, so this is good. 5 minus n, that's good. 6n plus 21, so it should be the top one. The other ones are just wrong for their own reason. But yeah. Does anyone have any questions on this one? Yeah, let's go to the next one. Um, the pyramid above each triangular faces the same area, and the base MNPQ is a square that measures 8 centimeters on each side. If the length of RS equals 6 centimeters, what is the surface area of the perimeter, excluding the base? Excluding the base. So surface area is everything outside, the area of all the things outside. If we are not including the base, it says excluding the base, that just means that we have to find the area of this triangle, and this triangle repeats four times. We see it repeats four times here. If you look at a pyramid, there's four sides. So how do I do the area? We see the base is what? RS is 6 centimeters, and the base is 8 centimeters on each side. So RS is the height of the triangle, 8 is the base. Area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2, actually. That's probably easier. So 6 times 8 is 48, divided by 2 is 24. We see that there's four sides of the triangle, so 24 times 4 is equal to 96. So your answer should just be B. What are the surface area formulas for this? There's no like formula. You kind of just need to know the height. Um, Usually like for like cubes, it's just going to be it's just the adding up all the areas of the sides. That should be like 6s squared. Um, that's the main one you really need to like the other ones don't really have a formula for 3D at least. You just need to know how to solve it if that makes sense. Someone's like, why are these so easy? I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know. How do you find the line in the middle of triangles for area with the value of the hypotenuse and base? The line in the middle of tri Oh, I see what you mean. Um, I don't think it's relevant for the test. From my understanding, you don't need to know it for the SHSAT. The SHSAT will definitely ask questions about like using the Pythagorean theorem, but you will not need to solve. I think the line in the middle of the triangles, it's the altitude. You will not need to like know how to solve for that. Um, yeah. I just don't think it's relevant. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, let's kind of like skip. Let's try to do these as quick as possible so I can get to like your questions, and like just help for the review. Perimeter of a rectangle is 5 10 centimeters. The ratio of the length to the width is 3 to 2. So the length is like 3, the width is 2. In total, this is 10. And then that's just a ratio. And we see that the perimeter is 5 10. So we have to scale each thing by 51. Because 10 times 51 is 510. So 3 times 51 is 153. 2 times 51, 102. And that is answer choice B. Again, like another way to do it, you can just say 3x, 2x, and then you can just add them up. 10x is equal to 510. You get x is equal to 51, and then you would just multiply x with each side. That's another way you can do it, but they're both the same thing. Let's go to the next one. I'll leave this up for like a few more seconds. Okay. Which number line shows the solution to this? You just multiply by 2 to get the x. So it's just this, and then the only one that has that is D. You multiply 2 on all sides, and you get that. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Um, the sum of two consecutive integers is -15. Again, consecutive integers, the first consecutive integer will be x, the second one will be x plus 1, because consecutive means one right after the other. And then if 1 is added to the smaller integer and 2 is subtracted from the larger integer, so 1 is added to the smaller integer, x becomes x plus 1. And then 2 is subtracted from the smaller integer, so x plus 1 was the smaller integer, and then we are subtracting by 2, so that's x minus 1. So these are the two things that we are multiplying. We're multiplying x plus 1 and x minus 1. First, let's solve for x. The sum of two consecutive integers is negative 15. So x plus 1 is equal to negative 15. 2x plus 1 is equal to negative 15. 2x is equal to negative 16. X is equal to negative 8. Now we need to solve for x plus 1 times x minus 1. X plus 1, that's negative 8 plus 1 is equal to negative 7. X minus 1, negative 8 minus 1 is equal to negative 9. The product, negative 7 times negative 9 is equal to 36. I mean 63, sorry. And then it's just positive because you're multiplying two negative numbers. Yeah, does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, let's go to the next one. I'll clear this in just a second. Someone says, isn't it subtracted by 2? Yes, it is. But it says this 2 is subtracted from the larger integer. The larger integer is x plus 1. X plus 1 minus 2 is x minus 1. So how did I get from x to the product? So again, the sum of two consecutive integers, that's x and then x plus 1. That's the definition of what consecutive means. Whatever x is, the next integer that's consecutive is going to be x plus 1. You solve for x because they tell you the sum is negative 15. X is equal to negative 8. 1 is added to the smaller integer. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. And then 2 is subtracted from the larger integer. So the larger integer is negative 8 plus minus 1. So it's just negative 9. Negative 7 times negative 9 is 63. And yeah, that should be your answer. So yeah, Cleo, did you have a question?
How did you get, wait, why is it negative 8 plus 1? I thought negative 8 was the bigger integer. So you would subtract 2 from it.
So like what I did was like these are the two variables like x and x plus 1 that represent the small and the big one. The small one I already did. I just added 1 to it. So the small one is just going to be x plus 1. So we don't actually solve for the small. I mean the small integer is negative 8. So we do plus 1, that's easy. And then the big integer is already x plus 1 and we subtract 2 from it. So x plus 1 becomes x minus 1, if that makes sense. So again, the two consecutive integers, if we were to plug it back in, would be negative 8 and then x plus 1, just negative 7. Subtract 2 from negative 7, you get negative 9. Yeah, I kind of just did it both ways, which can be seen as confusing. But hopefully that makes sense. If you were to plug it back in and do it, you will get negative 8 and negative 7 as your integers. So, yeah. Someone said, how much time should you spend on each question? It depends. For math, I usually spend less than a minute on each question just so I can save enough time. Um, Reading, it takes a bit longer because you're reading the passage. Okay, I'm gonna clear the screen. And then yeah, let's move on to the next one. A box of colored pencils has 6 red pencils. The probability of choosing a red pencil is 2 over 7. How many pencils in the box are not red? So if it's 2 over 7 that has 6 red pencils, you just set it equal to this because 2 represents the red probability of choosing a red pencil. So we multiply 3 to get 6. So we multiply 3 to get 21. And 21 represents the total pencils in the box. So how many pencils in the box are not red? We know 6 pencils are red. 21 minus 6 is 15. So 15 pencils are not red. So the answer is just 15. Okay, let me just go to the next one. I'm gonna try to go a bit quicker. just because I know this material is a bit easier. Okay, Kevin has 140 lorgs and 16 dollars. He exchanges them for dollars. How many dollars will he receive? Just have to like use the fractions here. So Kevin has 140 lorgs. 140 divided by 7 is equal to 20. So that's $20. 16 dollars. 16 divided by 0.5 is equal to 32. So $32. 20 plus 32 is equal to 52. So the answer is just B. Okay, let's go to the next one. Area of the shaded region of the graph. Again, this is a triangle. Just remember base times height divided by 2. Base is 1. Height here is 1. Base times height divided by 2. So it's just B. Since someone said since this is made by the DOE, this is a very similar representation of the test. Again, I think like five. I mean, like a lot of people ask this. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna make, but I would prepare for something that's harder. Because if everyone is doing well on this, then that's not like a good like they do want to challenge students. So prepare for the fact that your test will be like ask harder questions. Again, this is just a sample set. So this is not going to be like the exact same thing, like the exact same topics and everything that'll be on your test. But the way that things are formatted, this will be the same, but it'll definitely be harder. In my opinion, I believe this your test will be harder. So just prepare for that. Um, Create an equivalent expression. Just evaluate each one. -8 minus -3. That's -8 plus 3. You have to remember that when you subtract a negative number, you are adding that number. -8 plus 3 plus 6. -8 plus 9. That's just 1. And then 6 minus 11 is -5. So yeah, this is another type of those new types of questions. Someone says the Kweller mocked the similar difficulty to this, or is it harder? The Kweller tests are definitely harder. Um, we want to challenge our students just so that they are well prepared for the test. Um, so yeah, our material is definitely challenging. Someone says, "Isn't it the absolute value?" I agree with you, but these are in the absolute value like bracket, so it's still -5 inside. If you evaluate it, it'll be 5, but we didn't evaluate the absolute value. You have to look a bit closer at the question. Someone said they would accept the values in a different order. That's not true because you're subtracting this first one from the second one. So this first one has to be 1. The second one has to be -5. That's just the way that this is formatted. So if you don't put it in this order, you would still get this wrong. Um, yeah, let's go to the next one. Um, this is Cranston bought 5 bottles of water for 90 cents each, 8 pounds of meat. Um, She paid a total of 29.60, not including tax. What's the price per pound of the meat? You just write the equation. 5 bottles of water for 90 cents each, and then 8 pounds of meat for X. We don't know what the price of the meat is. This is 26.90. If you were to solve for this, you get like 450 plus 8X is equal to 26.90. 8x is equal to, okay, so subtract 450 on both sides is 2240. And then x should be 2, I think it's 280. So it should be A. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Sample of 10 cards, 4 are red, 6 are blue, 2 are selected at random from the sample, 1 at a time without replacement. What is the probability that both cards are not blue? If they're not blue, that means they're red. So the first probability that they're not blue is 4 out of 10, 4 red cards out of 10, and then it says not replacement. So that means it's going to be 3 out of 9. Why is it not? I mean, it says, what does it say that? Without replacement. So we don't put the red card back in. So there's 3 red cards left inside out of 9 total cards. And then you evaluate this. 3 out of 9 is 1/3. This should just be 4 over. Wait, did I do this wrong? No, I didn't. Okay, 4 over 30, which is 215. So the answer should just be A. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Someone said Y 1/3. You just have to simplify. It's because well, what do you call? So you have 3 over 9. We simplify it each. You divide 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. That becomes 1 over 3. And then this is 4 over 30. And then both are even, so you divide the top and the bottom by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So the answer is 2 over 15. Okay. The relationship between the coins are shown above. Which one is the most valuable? This one, you just have to set an equation to see which one is more valuable. The one that has a bigger number is not more valuable. The one that has the smaller number is valuable. What do I mean by this? Let's go through each one. 1 sind is equal to 4 logs. That means that 1 sind is greater than 1 log. That just makes sense, right? Because 1 sind is equal to 4 of them. 2 plunks is equal to 5 dolts. 1 plunk is greater than 1 dolt. So the answer is not going to be a log or a dolt. We can rule those out. Okay. 5 sinds is 2 harps, so 1 harp is greater than 1 sind. Easy. So we rule out A. And then 1 plunk is equal to 3 harps. So 1 plunk is greater than 1 harp. Yeah, they made this actually really easy. So the answer should just be plunk, the last one. So this one, you just have to relate which one is bigger. Again, the one with the smaller number is always going to be bigger because it means that it's more valuable if it's worth more of the other. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Faculty of a 4-year college is 179 teachers, 663 first-year students. The student to faculty ratio is 15 to 1. So what is the total number of second, third, and fourth year students? So students are 15, faculty is 1. How many students are there? 663 first year, and we don't know how many for the other 3 years. And this is going to be over total 179 teachers. Here we just solve for x. Use cross multiplication. 15 times 179 is equal to 1 times 663 plus x, which is just 663 plus x. 15 times 179 is 2,685. And then it's equal to 663 plus x. And then x is equal to 2,685 minus 663 is 2,022. So the answer should just be B. Okay, does anyone have any questions on this one? This one's slightly difficult, but yeah. I'll leave it up for a few more seconds and then we'll move on. Okay, let's go to the next one. How many more people in City walk to work than ride their bicycle to work? Walk to work than ride their bicycle. 22% walk, 4% ride their bike. So it's 22 minus 4 because I always like to do the percentages first because it's 22% that walk, 4% ride their bike. So 18% more people walk than ride their bike. And then 18 is just 0.18 as a decimal. Multiply by 1500. That's, well, I know 15 times 8 is 270, so this is going to be 2700. And then, is that an answer? Okay, yeah, it is. So the answer is just B. So yeah, this was very simple. It's just like two-step, easy. Subtract the percentages, get the difference, multiply the difference by the total. I meant to put an extra zero, but okay. Let's move on to the next one. Factors that include the smallest factor other than 1 of 91. Okay, well, as factors that include the smallest factor of 91. The smallest factor other than 1 of 91. Well, okay. Well, let's look. So, 30, what factors do 30 have? Um, well, it's first. Oh wait, smallest factor other than 1 of 91. So 91. What are the factors? I know it's. I mean, one of the basic ones is just 1 and 91, and then you can just keep dividing it. It's not divisible by 2 or 3. Not divisible by 5. Yeah, it's 13 and 7. I think, right? 7 times. Yeah, yeah. It should be 13 and 7. So you just kind of have to go up the whatever. But it says include the smallest factor. So the smallest factor is not 13, it's just 7. And then factors that include the smallest factor, 7. So 30, 35, 39, 44. The only one that has 7 is 35. 35 divided by 7 is 4. So the answer should just be B. Okay, does this one make sense? I know I didn't show the process of actually solving for the smallest factor. You kind of just have to go down the list. Like it's usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going to hit one of these numbers. You don't really include one. Everything's divisible by one. As long as you know how, as long as you can divide all of these by these numbers and then figure out what the factor is, you should be good. So once you reach 7, you'll realize that it's that. Okay. Let's do the next one. One side measures 16 centimeters, the other two sides each measure 12. These two sides each measure 36 feet. So this is a scale. So it's saying that the 12 centimeters is equal to 36 feet. And what is the length of the remaining side of the actual banner? So we know it's 16 centimeters. We don't know how many feet it is. I know 12, um, 12 times 4 over 3 is equal to 16. So 36 times 4 over 3 is going to be equal that. 36 times 4 over 3. 36 divided by 3 is 12. 12 times 4 is 48. So the scale should just be 48. So your answer here will be D. Boom. Does anyone have any questions on that? Let's go to the next one. give you guys like a few seconds. So what's that? Why do we multiply by 4 over 3? Wait, let me bring that back. It's because we want to scale the ratio. At 12 to 16, we want to go from 12 to 16. Like the other way you could solve for it is writing the fraction. So 12 over 36 is equal to 16 over x. You could do the cross multiplication. 12x is equal to 36 times 16, right? And 12 divided by 36 itself is 1 over 3. So that would be, wait, no. Wait, it is, yeah. So that would be fine. But I just did times 4 over 3 because you want to go from 12 centimeters to 16 centimeters. The question is asking you what is the length of the remaining side of the actual banner. They say that the scale is 12 centimeters and then the actual one is 36. And they want to see what the 16 centimeters side is. So that's the remaining side. And they want to see what is the length of that. So that's why we multiply by 4 over 3 so that we can get the actual feet. So we said x. Okay? Yeah. What's the mean score? So when you just have to multiply, there's 4 students that got 85, 4 students that got 75, two that got 65. Divide all of this by 10 students. And then you should get like 300, 140, no, 130, and 340, so that should just be 770. Divided by 10 is 77. So yeah, the answer should just be C. There's not only 8 students, you should just like add them up. 4 plus 4 plus 2. Okay, let's continue. The least of 5 consecutive integers is L and the greatest is G. What is the value of L plus G in terms of L? So the least of 5 consecutive integers is L, the greatest is G. So again, we write out the consecutive integers. The first one is L, second one is L plus 1, third one is L plus 2, fourth one is L plus 3, fifth one is L plus 4. Consecutive means one after the other, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one after the other. What's the value of L plus G in terms of L? Here we say that the largest is G and G is equal to L plus 4, because that's the largest. So L plus G is just L plus 4 over 2. And then that equals 2L plus 4 over 2. And that is L plus 2. So the answer should just be C. And again, I know I didn't write this, but this is all being added in like parentheses. So yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the owner of a tree farm farms plants pine trees and oak trees in a ratio of 8:3. How many oak trees are planted if 264 pine trees are planted? Again, this is just a ratio. Pine to oak, 8:3. How many oak trees are planted if 264 pine trees are planted? We are solving for x. So you can do cross multiplication, 8x, which is 8 times x on the bottom, and then 264 times 3. Okay. 4 times 3 is 12, 60 times 3 is 18, 180 to 600, so 8x should be equal to 762, I think. Then x is just equal to divide 8 on both. So 762 divided by 8 is nice, 99, yeah. So the answer should just be 99. Does this make sense to everyone? Um, Again, this one's just a simple ratio, so like setting the ratio and just know how to do cross multiplication and then you should be good for this. Yeah, let's go to the next one. Today, Tian's age is one. Tian's age is 1/4 of Jordan's age. In 2 years, Tian's age will be 1/3 of Jordan's age. How old is Jordan today? Um, so Tian's age is 1/4 of Jordan's age. So T is equal to 1/4 J. In 2 years, Tian's age will be 1/3 of Jordan's age. So in 2 years, that's T plus 2. Tian's age is 1/3 of Jordan's age. Jordan age isn't just J. In 2 years, Jordan also ages by 2 years. So it looks like this. And then you plug in T because we know T is 1/4 J. So 1/4 J plus 2 equal to 1/3 J plus 2/3. Um, and then here we have to combine the J's. We can first subtract the 2, or we could, yeah, we could do 2 minus 2/3. We know that 2 is 6/3. So 6/3 minus 2/3 is equal to 4/3, right? So and then 1/4 or 1/3 minus 1/4. 1/3 J minus 1/4 J. We want the same denominator, so it's going to be 12 because 3 times 4 is 12. That's just the common denominator. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4J minus, and then 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12J. 4 1/12 J minus 3 and 1/12 J is just 1 and 1/12 J. So this is 1 and 1/12 J is equal to 4/3. Multiply 12 on both sides to solve for J. Then you'll get that J is equal to 16. So how old is Jordan today? Jordan today is 16 years old. The answer should just be D. And that's a lot of work, so I'll keep it up. Yeah, does anyone have any questions on this? Oh yeah, I forgot the J there, but yeah, you got the idea. So it's like, can we also plug in answers? You can if you think it's easier, but you would have to look at each answer choice and make sure you're doing it correctly. So the first one, like Tien's age is 1/4 of Jordan's age. If Jordan is 4, then Tien is 1. In 2 years, Tien would be 3, Jordan would be 6. Tien would be 1/3. That's not 1/3 of Jordan's age, so that's wrong. So you can, yeah, you can go one by one, but it's up to you. I like doing it like this just so that I get the solid answer. Yeah, good. Next one. Oh my God. Okay. Um, so just distributing. So move the correct answer to each box. Negative 1.05, I mean 0.05 times 8 is just going to be, oh, it's going to be negative 4. I was about to put 4. But it's negative 4 because it's a negative number multiplied with 8, which is a positive number. And then what do I do here? Here we add 4 on both sides because they're both constants. You can tell we add 4. So 24 plus 4 is 28. And then 28 equals negative 0.5x. Divide negative 0.5 on both sides. You'll get that negative 56 is equal to x. And that should be your answer. Is anyone confused about any of the steps that I did here? Okay, let's go to the next one. It's the value of the expression shown above. Here, you just have to add all the numbers. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. 14. Then 1/5 plus 3, 10 plus 2/5 plus 1/2. Least common denominator is 10. So what I do is we make all the fractions with a denominator of 10. 1/5 becomes 2/10. Why? Because I multiply 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. 3 over 10, that's already a fraction over 10. 2/5, 2 times 2, and then 5 times 2 is 10. So that would just be 4 over 10. And then 1/2 is 5 over 10. So this should just be 14 over 10. Wait, no, this should be, yeah, wait, I'm sorry. 14 over 10. So the answer is just going to be 14, which is here. That's when we added up all the numbers, plus 14 over 10, which is the fraction. 14 over 10 as a fraction is 1/4. So this would be 15 over 4/10. And then 4 over 10 simplifies to 2 over 5. So it's 15 over 2 over 5. 15 2/5. So D. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, let's go to the next one. An unmarked straight stick will be laid end over end to measure a distance of exactly 72 feet. Same stick will be used in the same way to measure a distance of 30 feet. What is like the longest stick possible that will be used for both measurements? This one is just finding the common factors, what works for both. You can go from down. 8 feet is not divisible by 30, so it would not be this one. 6 feet, 72 divided by 6 is 12. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So the answer is, what's the longest possible stick? 6 is the biggest number here, so it should just be C. Again, it says an unmarked straight stick will be laid end over end. That means like if we have a distance of 72 feet, we're going to use a stick. Like we're going to use that 6-foot stick 12 times. We're going to lay it over end. So we're going to have 16 stick. I mean, we're going to have 12 sticks each length of 6. Just to make sure that you guys get this. Yeah. This is the next one. There are 6 different cookies on a plate. Aiden will choose 2 of these cookies to pack in his lunch. How many different pairs of 2 cookies can he choose from the 6? Again, this is a type of combination. This is a type of combination problem. Aiden chooses 2 cookies to pack in his lunch. It's called the cookies A, B, C, D, E, F. How many pairs of two cookies can he make from the six? Just make pairs of two and don't repeat. So this is one pair with all the A's. And then once we finish the A's, we do B, C, B, D, B, E, B, F. So all the B's. Why does it keep getting smaller? Because we already did the pairs with the A's and the B's, so we can't really use them anymore. C, D, C, E, C, F, D, E, D, F, and then E, F. If you add this up, it should be 15, so the answer should just be B. Again, you can use the formula if you know the formula. What is the fastest way to solve this? This is faster than doing the formula in my opinion, because doing the formula you'd have to do a lot of math. Here you just have to group it. This is a pretty fast problem. I solved it in under 30 seconds. So if I could solve it, you guys can solve it too. Um, If you want to solve it using the combination formula, it's six choose two, because here you have six different cookies on a plate, and how many different pairs of two cookies can you make? So you're choosing two cookies from the six. Okay, so the answer is 15. Just do it this way. My piece of advice would be to do it this way. If you already memorized the formula in your head, then do it like that. But if you didn't, just do it this way. This is the easiest way. This is how I solved it when I took the test. I didn't know the combination formula on the test. Um, the difference here is order does not matter. You are making different pairs of two cookies. You're not putting one cookie on the left, one cookie on the right. If we were to do that, then the answer would be 30. But here we are making different pairs of two cookies. So all we have to do is come up with the combinations of each cookie. Yeah, whatever Billy said. Yeah, order matters. In this case, wait, no, order doesn't matter. The order of the cookie doesn't matter. You just have to put in groups. So, yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, 1 second. Okay, for presentation, Dion creates 5 slides in 20 minutes. Kyra creates 33 slides in 10 minutes. What's the total number of slides they can create in an hour? 5 slides in 20 minutes, 60 minutes in an hour, multiply 3 on both sides. You'll get that 15 slides in 60 minutes, which is an hour. Kyra creates 3 slides in 10 minutes, 60 minutes. You multiply 6 on both. So 3 times 6 is 18 slides, and 10 times 6 is 60 minutes. So 15 plus 18 is 33. Okay, does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, so the idea for this one, someone just wants me to explain it again. So 5 slides in 20 minutes, convert each ratio to 60 minutes, which is an hour. So if he creates 5 slides in 20 minutes, he creates 15 slides in 60 minutes. 20 times 3 is 65 times 3 is 15. Kyra makes 3 slides in 10 minutes, so 18 slides in 60 minutes. 3 times 6 is 18, 10 times 6 is 60. How'd I know how to multiply that? Because I look at the minutes and I want to convert it to 60. So what times 20 will get me 60? 3. What times 10 will get me 66? That's about it. Okay. So the answer here, I didn't even convert it from 60 minutes to an hour, but you should know that 60 minutes are in an hour. But yeah, the answer is just C. Okay, let's go to the next one, 93. Well, on the number line, ln is equal to 1/8. Point M is not shown, is located between point L and M. What is the possible value for M? To find a possible value for M, let's solve for N. Ln is 1/8, so you have to do 4, 5 over 16 plus 1 over 8, convert it into 16. Why? Because here denominator is 16 and this denominator is 8. If we convert it to a denominator of 16, we can add it easily. 1/8 is equal to 2/16. So that's 4, 7 over 16. So we just have to find a number that lies between 4, 5 over 16, 4, 7 over 16. 4, 5 over 16 has to be something like 4.43. 4, 7 over 16 is like 4.35. Or 4, oh wait, no, I messed it up. This one is 4.31. And this one is 4.43. So the only one that lies in between them is going to be C. The rest of them don't lie in between them. How do I get the decimal? You can just divide. 16 divided, like 5 divided by 16, do the long division. Like 3, 1, and then there it continues. Like, but I just know that it would be 4.35. Someone said, how are we supposed to do this in our heads? You should be doing nothing in your head. You should always write out your work. Please. It doesn't matter how smart you are. You should write out your work because even someone who did well on the test, I think what helped me do well is that I wrote out everything I did. But like, yeah, you can't really do this writing like in your head. You'd kind of have to calculate each one. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, what's the value of x in this equation? This is like, I don't even know why they're doing all this fancy stuff. Like, you just subtract 6x on both sides, you get 0 is equal to 3x plus 13, and then subtract 13 on both sides. Negative 13 is equal to 3x. Divide 3 on both sides. So it's a negative 13 over 3. You just have to leave your answer in the terms of a fraction. So I can just do this, or I don't want a mixed number, I want to do a fraction. So this negative negative, oh my God, negative 13 over 3. Yeah, that should be it. Ryan was to read 150 pages for school. It took him 30 minutes to read the first 20 pages. How much additional time will it take him to finish the reading? So 30 minutes for 20 pages, and he is reading 150 pages. But it says how much additional time will it take him to finish the reading? Since he read 20 pages already, I'm going to put 130 pages here, only because he read the first 20 pages. It's asking us how long will it take him to do the additional. So 20 to 30, 130, that's just times like 6.5. So you do the same thing here. 30 times 6.5. 30 times 6 is 180. 30 times 0.5 is 15. So 180 plus 15 is like 195 minutes. And you know that 30 seconds, I mean, 60 minutes are in 1 hour. So 195 minutes divided by 60. 195 divided by 60 is going to be 3 and 1/4. So the answer should just be B. Again, this is just a simple ratio question. Someone said it's 150 pages, but it says how much additional time. Again, pay attention to when it says the bolded thing. So she already read the first 20 pages. How much additional time will it take her to finish the reading? So she has 130 pages left additionally to read. So that's why I did that. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, what is m over n in terms of w, x, y, and z? So m is w over x. Remember that a fraction means you are dividing. So we are dividing m and n. M over n is m divided by n. W over x divided by y over z. Keep the w over x. Change division to multiplication. And then flip the fraction. So the answer should just be C. What does z not equaling 0 have to do with anything? It's because um, when you divide, you can't divide by a negative number, so that's why they always say that. Because if let's say like z and let's say z and this or w x y and z do not equal to 0. Let's say x equal to 0. This would be w z divided by 0. You cannot divide by a 0, so that's why they always say that. But it doesn't really mean much for the question. It's just a thing they like to throw. Okay. A set of three consecutive integers from 12 to 30. Four integers are multiples of both 2 and 3. How many integers are in the set are multiples of neither 2 or 3? Okay. Um, okay, so let's write out all the integers and we want to only include integers that are multiples of, so it says neither multiples of 2 or 3. So we go through from 12 to 30 and we only want to include numbers that are not multiples of either one. So we start with like 13. 13 is not a multiple of either one. We don't include any even numbers because even numbers are always going to be divisible by 2. So 13 is the first one. 14 we skip. 15 is divisible by 3, so we don't do that. 17, 19 is not divisible by 3. 21 is divisible by 3. 23 isn't. 25 isn't. 27 is divisible by 3. 29 is not as well. So now we just have 6. The best way to do this, if you want, I just did it like a quicker way. You can just write out all the numbers and then just like cross out each one. It should take like a minute or two. Um, there's not really a faster way to do this. There's no like formula that'll tell you the answer. You kind of just have to think in your head. When it says not multiples of 2, that means it's not even. So don't include even numbers. And 3, it's easy. We know 3, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Just don't include any of those. Okay, so the answer should just be B. 3n is a positive even number. How many odd numbers are in the range from 3n up to and including 3n plus 5? So 3n plus 1, 3n plus 2, 3n plus 3, 3n plus 4, 3n plus 5. So we know that 3n is a positive even number, so why don't we say n is equal to 2 just to give you idea? That means 3n is equal to 6. And it's basically telling us how many odd numbers are here. So 3n is equal to 6. This one's equal to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How many of these are odd? 7, 9, and 11. So 3. So with this one, you can just plug in n. We know that n is like an even number, so it would just be n equals 2. So 3n is just 6, and we know that's correct. So how many odd numbers are in this range? We just do 3n plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, and then we evaluate it from there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, student buys 4 notebooks. The total cost is $12. So 4 notebooks is $12. That's here. It's correct. And now we just have to match which points follow this line. What is the slope of this line? Whatever the value of x is, y is equal to 3x. When a student buys 4 notebooks, so when x is equal to 3, 3 times 4 is 12. Y is equal to 12. So it's just y equals 3x, whatever follows this line. So 1 notebook should be 3. 2 should be 6. That's not here. 3 should be 9, and that's here. 4 should be 12. 5 should be 15. That's not here. So only 3 points are here. This type of question, you just have to click the point. It's very obvious to see whether or not you clicked it. It's going to be blue and circled. Yeah, does anyone have any questions on this one? This one, again, it's a new type of TEI. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, which of these are equal to z? Okay, solve for z. So do the cross multiplication. Multiply the w and the z, that's wz. Multiply x and y, that's just xy. Solve for z, you just have to divide w on both sides. So z is equal to xy over w. And the answer for this should just be D. Does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, next one. Okay, we're almost done. We only have 14 more questions, and then I'm just going to open up the floor for you guys to ask anything. Yeah. The number line points x, y, w, x, y, z are integers. Wx to x to y to z is 4 to 2 to 3. What is the value of wy? Okay, the whole length of this is 18. Can we agree? Because negative 10 to 8, 18. Wx, x, y, y, z, what is the total? 4 plus 2 plus 3 is 9. The total is 9. So here I see the total length is 18. So all we have to do for each to find each length is multiply by 2. So wx, x to y, y to z, we just have to multiply by 2. That should just be 4 times 2 is 8. So that's the length of wx. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. Oh, I did that wrong. Should go down here. So 8, 2 times 2 is 4, and then 6. And this means this is wx, xy, and yz. So what is the length of wy? Wy is just wx plus xy. So 8 plus 4, which is 12. So the answer should just be C. Okay, does anyone have any questions on this one? I think this was important to understand how it works. I know I kind of rushed through it. The reason why I get the total is because I want to scale it up to the total of the whole length. Wx plus xy plus yz is wz. So once I get the whole length is 18, and I see that the ratio adds up to 9, we can just multiply each number by 2. Um, yeah. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So I'm just going to clear the screen. Someone had a question with the one before. What is Oh, it's because again, they have to be positive. No, like the reason why they say positive numbers is so that x and z are not equal to 0. Again, you can't divide by a 0. So that's why they always say whenever you're working with fractions, they will always say something like this, but it's not too relevant for us solving the question. So yeah, a metal square is used in an electronic device. It has a thickness of 0.02 inches, allowable error of 1%. What is the greatest allowable thickness of the metal square? So an error of 1%, that means 0.02 times 1% is 0.01. It's going to be 0.0002. And what's the greatest allowable thickness? If you have an allowable error of 1%, you just do 0.02 plus this error. And this should be 0.0202. So the answer should be C. So again, the idea for this one, you find 1% of 0.02, which is this 0.0002. You can do the multiplication for this, but this is what you get. And then what is the greatest allowable thickness? Whenever they say an allowable error of 1%, this means that the number could be higher or lower by 1% of the value. So here we want to find the greatest allowable thickness. So it's going to be 0.02 plus 0.0002. Why do you add? Because greatest allowable error. So it's like if let's say I got a 79 on my test and I had an error of like one score. So either I got an 80 or I got a 78. That's how error works. So here in this case, either you add the 1% of error or you subtract. The question is asking you, um, what is the greatest allowable thickness? Yeah. Okay, so the answer is C. Let's go to the next one. What's the overall range of all the scores in all three sections? Um, so we want to find the maximum score. So for section one, the lowest score is 65, the range is 28. So the highest score is going to be 93. 65 plus 28. 62 plus 25 is 87. So it's going to be the highest score. And then 67 plus 22 is 89. Okay, so now you just have to find the overall range of the all the scores. So the lowest score out of all is 62 and the highest score is 93. So 93 minus 62 is equal to 31. So the answer is D. Yeah, let's go to the next one. The graph above shows the number of schools per city for 5 small cities. Cities M and N each have 500 students per school. And then, okay, so it just lists out the number of students. Which one of them has the greatest number of students? So you multiply the schools by the students. So M, P, Q, R. Um, so it's the only ones here. So M has 8 schools and each school has 500 students. Um, N has 5 schools. Each school has 500 students. So obviously N is going to have less. I'll write it in as well. MNPQR. So this one you just have to multiply each one. Um, P has 400 students and there's 9 schools. Q has 700 students and there's 6 schools. And then R has 4 schools and 700 students. So the one with the most schools obviously is Q, so we just choose Q. So the answer is C. Okay, let's go to the next one. 7 is the first digit. What's the 391st digit? We see that it repeats, 6 numbers are repeating. So what you do is you divide by 391. You find the remainder when you divide it by 6, and the remainder should just be the order. This is the first digit, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then sixth. So yeah, 6 divided by 391. 6 times 6 is 36. And 6 times 5 is 30. So it's 65 remainder 1. And that means that it's going to be the first digit 7. So the answer is D. This is a pretty common question that might appear on your test. But yeah. Does this make sense to everyone? Again, you look at how many numbers are repeating. Here it's 6. You divide by 6 to get the remainder. And the remainder is just a number that appears here. This is 7 is the first one, so it should just be a 7. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay, so this one you're actually plotting. -3 is less than or equal to 2x minus 5. So that means that you add 5 on both sides to get rid of this -5. -3 plus 5 is equal to 2. 2 is less than or equal to 2x. And that means that 1 is less than or equal to x. So that means x is greater than or equal to 1. So you click it, you drag it, and then yeah, that should be the answer. Because 2 is less than or equal to 2x. 1 is less than or equal to x. That means x is greater than or equal to 1. So, yeah. Does anyone have any questions on this? For this one, you would just have to click the correct direction and then plot it. What's the difference between the color of the circle? So in this case, if you were choosing the shaded in circle, so these two, that means that it's greater than or equal to, whatever it's equal to. So if it's equal to, then you shade it in. So these two are shaded in. But if it's just greater than, like if it was x greater than 1, let's say it's x greater than 1, the answer would be this with the open circle. The open circle indicates that 1 is not included. 1 is not equal to x. But here it's x is greater than or equal to 1. So since it's greater than or equal to, we choose this direction here, the shaded circle, and then we put it at 1. So again, that's important. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is just 100 times 2 plus 0.1 is 2.1 squared minus 100. 100 times 2.1 squared is 4.41. Wait, yes, I believe so. I'm gonna double check. Okay, it is. This one you can just do the long math, like 2.1 times 2.1 you'll get 4.41 minus 100. 100 times 4.41 is 441 minus 100 is 340. So the answer should just be D. Okay, so here you add, you square, and then you solve. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, What is the probability that the ball will be yellow? Add up the totals. So 4 plus 5 plus 8 plus 9 plus 11 equals 37. And the probability that it's yellow is 8 over 37. So it should just be C. 8 is the yellow, so that should be easy. Okay, let's go to the next one. Does anyone have any questions on this? Yeah, we're almost done. Leon has fixed expenses. It costs him $150 to make a chair in his shop. And he sells each chair for $275. What is Leon's profit if he makes and sells 250 chairs in 1 week? So it costs him 150 to make a chair, and he sells each chair for 275. So if it costs him 150 and he sells it for 275, he's making $125 profit per chair. And he has fixed expenses of 1,250. So fixed expenses first, let's do 25 chairs. How much profit is he making? He's making $125 of profit. And then we subtract the fixed cost of 1,250. So 25 times 125, 3,125, and then yeah, 1,250, and then it should just be 1,875, I believe. And the answer should just be A. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So here again, the idea is you look at how much profit he has to make, how much profit he's making for each chair. He's selling 25 chairs, so 25 times the profit minus the fixed expenses. We have to include the fixed expenses in his total profit. So yeah, that's why they included this detail so that we include it there. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. How many centimeters are in 4 feet, 7 inches? Wow. Okay. So convert it to inches, 4 feet, 12 inches, 4 times 12 plus 7 is equal to 55 inches. And then 2.54 centimeters is 1 inch. 55 times 2.54 is equal to 139. Yeah, 139.70. So yeah, it should just be D. Okay, this one's pretty simple. Convert it into inches, solve for the inches, and then convert it into centimeters. Okay, next one. A given number line was the position of point L. G okay. Wow, they don't even give the length of JM and then LM. Okay, so we have to go back to J, go to M, and then go to L. So interesting. JK is 3 1/2. So these are all in terms of we want it to be the same common denominator, so it would be easy to work with. Clearly, it's going to be 8. 8 is the biggest number, and 2 and 4 are both like factors of 8. So 3 1/2 becomes 3 4/8. JM is 9 3/4, that becomes 9 6/8. What is the position of point L? First, let's go back. JK is 3 4/8, so we have to go back 3 4/8. Um, so that's 3/8, which is the position of K, minus JK. And JK is 3/4. This should be negative 3 1/8. So J is negative 3 1/8. Now I'll switch the color just so that it makes more sense. I'll do red. Now it says JM is 9 3/4. So in order to go to M, whatever this J value is, negative 3 1/8, we add by JM. JM is 9 6/8 to get M. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6. Negative 1/8 plus 6/8 is 5/8. So 6 5/8. And then LM is 1 1/8. So you have to go back. So we go back by 1 1/8. So 6 5/8 minus 1 1/8 is 5 4/8, which is just 5 1/2. So the answer should just be C. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this? So we end up with the position of L is 5 1/2. If you want, you can take a picture of this and look at it later, but this is just important in solving for L. We get L is 5 1/2, so it's pretty chill. Okay. I'm gonna clear the screen in a few seconds, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, let's next go next. All right, what's x in terms of y? So we just solve for x. So we move y to the other side. It's 4x. We add 3y on both sides, so 12 plus 3y. And then we want to solve for x, so we divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3 plus 3/4 y. The only answer choice that has this is C. So the answer is C. Okay. Again, for here, you want to make sure that you divide the numerator with each denominator. And if you can simplify it, like 12 divided by 4 is 3, just do that. Okay, let's go to the next one. We're almost there. Um, okay. What is the mean number of serving fruits and vegetables? So whatever the servings is, you multiply with the students. So this is 0, 7 times 1 is 7, 3 times 3 is 9, 4, 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 0 is 0, and then 5 times 1 is 5. If you add this all up, you get that there's 30 servings of fruits and vegetables. And how many students are there? There's 20 students. So 30 divided by 20 gives you the mean, which is 1.5. So is that an answer? Oh yeah, 1.5 is just 1 1/2. So the answer is A. You got to make sure you know how to do this. You just multiply whatever quantity. This is the quantity, okay? The quantity is in blue. The number of students is in red. You multiply the quantity by the number of students. Think about it logically. If there's 3 students that have 2 servings, in total there are 6 servings. Wait, so I did that wrong. Whoops. But yeah, if you add this up, you should get 30. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this one you're just plugging in. This seems like the hardest one, kind of. Just like putting it in. Where did I get 30 from? When I had that, like, when I add up all these numbers, 7 plus 6 is 13, 13 plus 12 is 25, 25 plus 5 is 30. So adding up all the number of servings, you get 30 servings for 20 kits. Okay, next one. You just plug in these numbers into this. So C over D divided by C over B. C over D, that's 4 over 5. I'm going to write out the division. Remember that a fraction is a division. 4 over 5 divided by C over B, 4 over 3. 4 over 5 times 3 over 4. Keep change flip. And this should just be 3/5. Wait, did I do that right? 4/3. Yeah, it should be, yeah, 3/5. So this is 3/5. And then over plus C over D. C is 4 over 5. So that's 7 over 5. So the answer is 7 over 5. And they already give the fractions, so. Someone asked that one would be an experimental question. Again, we don't know what experimental is. this could be a question that counts for your score. I want everyone to realize that any question can either be experimental or real. We do not know which one is experimental, so do not skip over a question like this. You should still like do a question like this. Um, yeah, you should put it in simplest form. Someone asked. Whenever you have an answer or fraction, always put it in simplest form, just to avoid like I don't know. They usually want you to simplify. That's a given. So here's 7 over 5. Obviously, we can't simplify, but let's say the answer was 6 over 8. You have to simplify. 6 over 8 can be 3 over 4, right? Then that's the simple version. So always make sure to simplify when applicable. Someone said, does experimental questions have to be one of the harder questions or can have a mix with easier? Again, we do not know what's experimental. Like, I wish I could tell you which ones are going to be, but we don't know. They can either be both. They can either be easy, hard, medium. We are not sure. Um, Someone asked, when in doubt, do you answer a question or leave it blank? You should always answer a question like, um, if even if you don't know how to answer it, just put in a multiple choice. If it's not multiple choice, it might be harder, but for reading, I just obviously just like randomly choose if you do not know. Um, do you suggest that if we have extra time, go over the section we do best on, um, or the section that is harder? I mean, in my opinion, I would do again, I talked about like how when you're doing this test, there's a bookmark feature up here. So let's say I'm confused about a question, I'll bookmark it. And when you do the review, you'll see that you can see what you bookmark. So I would bookmark questions I struggle with. Let's say I go through the whole reading and math and I bookmarked like 10 questions. So bookmarked means I need to review it. But if I know, let's say like I answered this question on the math and I knew this was the answer, I'm not going to go back to it again. I don't have to review it again. You should be confident when you're answering these questions. So once I solve it, I'm confident I'm going to leave it here. You can review it again, but you don't need to bookmark it. So first, what I would do is go over all the questions you bookmark, so questions that you might not be sure about, and then review everything. Just quickly look at it, make sure you did the math correctly. Um, I'm just gonna quickly go over what do you call question 83. I think someone had a question on, and then I'll just open the floor. Um, Again, it says 12 centimeters, and it says these two sides each measure 36 feet. So this means that when I have 16 centimeters, what is the feet going to be? I know that to go from 12 to 16, you have to multiply by 4 over 3. How do I know that? Well, I know that 12 and 16 both have a common factor of 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3, 16 divided by 4 is 4. So if they have a common factor of 4, you can divide by 3 and then multiply by 4 to get 16. 12 divided by 3 is 4. You can go backwards. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 4 centimeters. Say 36 divided by 3 is 12 feet. Once you get 4 centimeters equal 12 feet, you can do 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 12 times 4 is 48. You can also do it like this, if that's easier. But since I know they have a common factor, I'm just going to do this, and then you get D. Yeah. And someone said, how do I know? Someone had a question on this too. How do I know what goes on the top and the bottom? Doesn't really matter. It depends on how you set it up. I put pine trees to oak trees, so it's 8 over 3. If I wanted to do oak to pine, it would be 3 over 8. But just make sure whatever's on the top should be pine. So 8 and 264 are pine. And then X is not pine. X and 3 are oak. So that's how. Okay, I'm gonna stop going over these questions now. Again, there's an answer key if you are still confused, but okay. Someone said 65 one more time. So we're gonna do that one, but that's it. Again, there's an answer key, so please use the answer keys. I went over all the questions, so I hope everyone like paid attention. This one, since it says both students have the sum of the same course grades, and Adriana took 4 courses, grade was 90. 4 times 90 is 360. Roberto took 5 courses. So if he took 5 courses and he had the sum of 360, 360 divided by 5 is 72. So the answer should just be A. And yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, I'm gonna go through. I know people had a lot of questions. Someone said, what do you need in both math and ELA out of 57 to get into Brooklyn Tech? So I think there's like what was it called? You can look through this like just to see the like table. So, but Brooklyn Tech is where's that? Down here. So basically like a score of like around like a 510 and above will get you um into Brooklyn Tech. Like I don't expect cutoffs to fluctuate too much, but that should be like around what you should aim for. Um yeah. And then oh, I guess out of math and ELA out of 57, I mean like a 510 would be like around like an 85 out of 114, like an 80 to 85 out of 114, I believe. I don't want to give like a direct answer because it does depend on the test, but I would aim for like definitely like 85 and 90. That should get you into both. Okay. Um, for angle questions, do you have to add units? Um, I forgot which number question is that. I think it depends on the question. If the question asks to add for units, so you should. Um, yeah. Any last minute tips on how to take the test? I think everyone is taking it on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Just let me know if I'm right or wrong. Um, so I mean, like you still have a lot of time to prepare. Um, like at least for Monday, Tuesday, I would definitely like take a rest day. You still have like today and tomorrow to like kind of prepare for the test. Um, and then. Like someone asked, should I study Tuesday because the day we have the day off? It depends. Like I would not study too hard. Don't do like practice questions, but definitely review old material that you've done. Um, yeah. Okay, I'm just answering um, feel free to just ask me questions. I'll stay for a while at the end too after 7. So I want everyone to get everything that's on your mind, off your mind. Just ask me. I'll give you the best answer I can. Someone said if you put Stye first but don't get in, is there still a chance you get into the other schools? Yes, because Stye has the highest cutoff. Let's say you don't get a Stye cutoff or you get like a Brooklyn Tech cutoff, then you will get Brooklyn Tech. So just because you don't get one school doesn't mean you won't get any schools. Depends on the cutoff. What would a good raw score be to aim for if you think about getting into sty? Like a 95 or around like a 95 to 100 should be a good strong enough raw score for a sty. Again, the Kweller Prep materials are difficult and they're made so that you prepare for the test. So if you haven't been doing as well, like let's say you got like a 85 or a 90 raw score and you like you're a bit stressed again, like we made our materials especially difficult so that you guys are prepared for the test. So go into the test with like confidence and you should be fine. um do I think the scale scores are going to be lower now that they're doing the test online? I mean, in my opinion, I think they will be a bit higher. I think they will be around the same or a bit higher, only because that um I don't know, I think more people are going to take the test now, so it's going to be a bit more competitive and everyone is preparing the same way. So, yeah, it's a new test. I guess it really depends, but I would still use whatever cutoffs that you see online for whatever school you want to get into. Use that as a baseline, as like what I should be aiming to score, or maybe you should try to get higher. Yeah. Is there any tips to increase ELA if it's at 40 and increasing math? I mean, math is just like practice, like looking at all these types of questions. After a while, you'll see that all the questions that we just did in math, pretty standard questions. Like these are just ones that we've always been doing. ELA is a bit harder. I just suggest reviewing right now. Look at old Kweller Prep materials, look at old tests. You have the answer key, try to reason it out. Again, you can try to ask your parents for help if they can help you out, but just revise old materials. That's the best way to do it. Um, yeah. Someone says, so does it go down by priorities? It goes down by whatever rank you did it. I don't know how the ranking system worked. I mean, like you just had to rank schools like 1 to 8 or something, but like it goes down. So like let's say you put Stuyve first and Brooklyn Tech next. Um, and then you don't get into Stuyve, you get into Brooklyn Tech because your score is not good enough for Stuyve, but then your score is good enough for Brooklyn Tech. So that's how it works. What are my thoughts about the test? Do I think it'll be easier since we are like the testing people? I don't know. I don't know. I would again, like I say it multiple times, but always prepare for like the content should be as difficult as the Kweller Prep. Oh, like the Kweller Prep tests. Always prepare that you think it'll be that difficult. Because if you mentally prepare for that and then you see it, you will like be a bit more confident in trying to answer each question. If you think that the test is going to be as easy as like this practice test has been, and then you take the test and it's not, that's not going to be good for your like what do you call it, confidence, right? You're going to be like completely shattered. So always like go into this test like trying to be as confident as you can. Expect like the worst, and hopefully you do the best. That's like the best advice I could give. Will we take the test on school computers? I have no clue. I think it depends on where you're taking it. I believe so, though. If someone could answer that, that would be great. I'm not too sure about the physical like arrangements. Um, yeah, and if you fit the okay. Is the testing days different for eighth and seventh, ninth graders? Yeah, it's on the website. Like there's like the breakdown of like which days people are taking the test. For ELA, what's the main thing that's the most beneficial to study and how to study it? The main thing is reading comprehension, which is obviously the name of the section. Being able to understand what's happening in each paragraph. How do you study for it? I just read all the time. But if you're like reviewing the materials right now, go through all the tests you did for your Kweller Prep, whatever course you were in, go through each passage, read through each paragraph, try to understand each paragraph, write notes about each paragraph. That really helps because it helps your understanding of like each paragraph. When you do the actual test, you won't have enough time to like write notes and do all that. You can annotate, but you won't have time to like write detailed notes. But definitely like trying to understand the passage, best thing you can do because that is the gateway to like answering everything. Someone said, how does the discovery program work? Again, the discovery program, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't have like the current up-to-date information. It's just a program for like students with low income to get into the like specialized high schools. This doesn't have anything to do with the actual taking the SHSAT. So that's why I'm not going to talk about it. Um, yeah, someone said they're taking the test on the 15th or 16th. Do I bring my own device? Um, read the instructions that are given on the website. I think that's the best baseline. I can't say whether or not you should. I'm not too sure if like you bring your physical device or there are devices there. Yeah. Put Brooklyn Tech first, York second, and Stuyve third. If I get a good enough cutoff score for Stuyve, if will I get into Stuyve? Um, it depends on the cutoffs for Brooklyn Tech and Stuyvesant, but since Brooklyn Tech has a higher cutoff, I mean Brooklyn Tech is a lower cutoff than Stuyve. Historically, you probably will just get into Brooklyn Tech since you ranked it first. That's just how it works. Yeah. If you get the experimental questions right but other questions wrong, does your score decrease? Experimental questions do not count for your overall score. So whenever there's 10 experimental questions in each section, 10 in the reading, 10 in the math. So whatever you score on that, they don't even count it for your score. So don't focus on that. How many geometry questions will be on the test? There is definitely going to be a few. Triangles for sure. Right angle for sure. Circles will definitely be on your test. Angles, like understanding that a line is like 180 degrees, like that'll definitely be on your test. Yeah. Someone asked, what if you were stressed out before the test? I think like everyone is kind of stressed out. I would just like the day before I was like I was just watching YouTube videos like I don't know, not like YouTube videos on the test. I was just like relaxing. I don't know, because I did prepare for it for like a good like 2 months before. So I was very prepared for it. I felt confident. That's all you really need, and that helps you while you're taking the test. So, will all the questions on the 2025 SHSAT test be TEI? No, there will be around 5 to 10 TEI questions for the whole test. Um, so yeah. How come when I saw the STI cutoff, it says it was 90%, but I got an 80% on Kweller test and it was higher scaled score? Um, Again, like the Kweller tests are more difficult. That's why you probably saw that. Uh, um, what did it say then? Let me check the. Yeah, so it says estimated raw score is 90%. So you should aim for like a 95 and above raw score if you want to get into like a school like Stuyvesant, 95, 100. Um, Again, if you haven't been getting that, it's okay because the Kweller Prep materials are designed to be harder. So don't be like discouraged. Are we taking it on PC or using the app made under the same company that made the same state test? I'm not too sure because when I took the state test, it was in person, like paper. So it's probably a different software though, if I had to guess, because it's a different organization. Um, if they're taking the test on Wednesday, I think we take the test on school computers. Okay, great. Someone said that. So, um, if 10 don't get scored, does that mean you can't get an 800? No, because the way that the experimental questions work, there's 10 experimental questions on each section. So that means that there's 47 in reading that gets scored and 47 in math that gets scored. Um, so like the scaled score works based on that. So if you get a 47 out of 47 correct on each section, you'll get an 800. Okay. What is the score calculator that you can trust? Honestly, I would just focus on raw score. Focus on getting your raw score up. The actual number does not matter because it's going to like it's going to like confuse you a lot because some tests you'll do better raw score, but you'll get a lower score. So I would just focus on raw score if I were you. I don't really have like a scoring calculator that I use. Someone asked, are we going to get different forms or all the same? We're going to get different forms. For sure, you will all get different forms. Now that it's online, everyone's going to get a different test. For QHSS at York College, what would you assume a good raw score would be? Let me check. Um, like getting above a 90, 95 around should be like a good raw score for that. Um, yeah. Someone said the SHSAT is on an app on the computer before you sign in, by the way. So I guess like if you're taking like the test on a computer, it'll be like that. What are your thoughts about the test? What do you think it'll be easier since we are the testing people? I think I answered this, but um, I think that the cutoff will be around the same or like a bit higher, even though we are the testing people. I think more people are taking the test now, so it's definitely going to be more competitive. Someone said, "How do you find that line in the middle of triangles for area?" I think I answered this, but it's not like you really need it for the test. You won't ever be asked to find the altitude. It's not like something that the SHSAT will ask you to solve for. If they ask you to solve for like a similar triangle, then knowing the ratios, that should be fine, but they will never ask you to find the altitude. So yeah. What's the point of experimental questions if they're not graded? Like it's just for it's for them to see how students do. So let's say there's one experimental question everyone gets right. They know that they have to make it harder. If everyone gets it wrong, then they know that it's too hard. We can't use this. When do you find out the score? Probably next year. Like I don't know. I found out my score in March, like March 7th. So around that. When you receive your acceptance letter, will you also receive your score also? Yes. If you get accepted into whatever school, you get the score. Like when I got accepted, it shows the score and the like the school. So someone asked, why is there more people taking the test this year? How do I explain it? It's like more people are learning about the test, and more, so that means that more people want to take the test. When I took the test compared to when you guys are taking the test, more people are just taking it. But again, I wouldn't focus on like the details of like how many people are taking it, and all that. You just want to try to do like your best. So again, yeah, I think I answered almost everything. Does anyone have any like last minute questions? Um, Someone said, I feel like the cutoff score with STI is going to be a 600. Don't worry. I really do not believe that. I do not think the cutoff will be that drastically high. STI has always been like a 560, so it might be like a 560 to 570. I do not believe it's going to be higher. Um, that's just my take. Again, like I do not know anything. I'm not like the one who's grading your tests, so I can't tell you. But from what I know, it's like I don't think so. Okay. Um, yeah, does anyone have any other questions? Um, Someone said if I'm taking the test on the weekend, should I study during the week? Yes. If you're taking the test on the weekend, you still have more time to study. I'm just speaking for the majority of people who are taking it during the weekday, but if you're taking it on the weekend, spend some time studying on the weekday so that you're prepared. Yeah. Overall, I think you guys should be prepared. Again, um, do your best not to be too stressed, right? Again, relax, do whatever makes you like relax before the test, whether it's like reading or like watching like a YouTube video or like watching like your favorite movie or something, spending time with family. And then, yeah, again, I wish everyone the best of luck. You guys all have my email. So if you have any questions before the test, feel free to email me. I'll do my best to respond. And yeah, so everyone, I wish you guys the best of luck. It's been a great 2 weeks, like teaching you guys. And yeah, someone said, "Are you sure that I should not study before?" I just think like the day before, it's not really ideal to study. I would lightly study, I would review, but I would not do any new questions. It just from my experience, but it's really up to you. Um, yeah. Yeah. Does anyone have any last minute questions before I end off? Again, wishing everyone the best of luck. You guys will do great on this. Um, and yeah, any final questions, you can feel free to email me. You can find like my email should be in the email that you received for this like extra help session. So yeah, wishing everyone the best of luck. Take care. Have a nice rest of your day.